Okay, I'm gonna go in.
Let's do it.
Today's number of the day is
Number of the day.
120, which is the number of overtakes in the Australian Grand Prix, surprisingly, versus 45 from last year. Although
There was 120?
yes. How many of
Wow.
those stuck? I don't know. Like, how many people actually, like, settled a position by that? But those batteries, man, they zip you ahead and then slow you down.
F1 America, baby! You're telling me these guys can turn left and right?
Welcome back, beautiful people, to this F1 America podcast with the Australian Grand Prix race review. The season is back. Alongside me is Natty Nathaniel Lawler.
Thank you. Back again. They're faithful. They keep coming.
Natty, we have so much to talk about.
Hey, we're back, though. Honestly, that was the quickest 93 days ever.
I don't even know where to start. Like, how do you start a podcast with as much that has happened in this Australian Grand Prix?
All right, everyone, listen up. The race was last night, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Matt missed it. He watched it this morning, so he didn't understand my question at all. It was awesome last night. I finished a game of Catan. I did not win. Callie Hufty won. That's annoying. She freaking fleeced all of us, and as soon as we were done, there's Crofty and Alex Jakes just talking about everything. So it was a good race, dude. It was fun. I'm glad we're back, baby. Saturday night.
We are so back, and I am so ashamed that I don't know why. I looked at my F1 app.
Wait, did I not text you?
No, because we walked in knowing that, hey, we're holding all of our thoughts and opinions for the viewers, and we're not going to communicate.
That's true,
So, no comunicado.
Yeah, we usually watch independent. I guess we can probably watch some of these together. Hey, the bigger news, though, than the race was our F1 fantasy results.
Oh, baby, give it to us.
So let's pull this up real quick. So,
if you are interested in joining our fantasy league that we're going to be doing throughout the season.
Yeah, honestly, please join it. F1 America Podcast is the league name. We got 9 teams in there. We got 9 people, which I don't know who any of these people are. Do you?
I'm in there. I sent them to literally everyone I'm connected with. So I just threw it out there. It is free to join. It is sole bragging rights of beating Nathaniel or I on a week-to-week basis, and you get to compete against us and our thoughts and predictions for the Grand Prix. But just go to the f1.com and fantasy and join a league, and it's F1 America.
I'm going to post about this on my Instagram story. I want to get like 1,000 people in here. I think it'd be so fun. So
give me the results.
So basically, there's 9 people in 9th place. We've got Team Achafalia F1. Don't know who that is. Jason, our mentor. In 8th place, Matthew Goucher.
No.
Wow.
I'm in 8th.
Wow, 8th place. Second to last,
I'm gonna go,
Matthew Goucher. You trust this man. You're listening to him, and you trust him as if he knows something. Let's look at your lineup. Who did you pick? This is going to be him. You picked McLaren as a team? Jeez. Okay, you picked Carlos Sainz, Gabriel Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, and Oliver Behrman. Crazy.
Which, to be fair, Isaac was having a great weekend until his car exploded.
Yeah, no, Isaac's a dog. He's a dog. I also picked Isaac. That's about where.
But what I did appreciate about fantasy, because sometimes fantasy can be a hit or miss, what I appreciated was they gave you a salary cap, essentially.
Yeah, cost cap.
And I was trying to pick back and forth between, do I pick the constructors team and weigh, like, how is it weighted? Do I go, like, pick Mercedes, knowing that they're going to win the weekend, or do I pick a lesser team that's going to be mid-pack and pick better drivers? So it's a gamble, and obviously I gambled wrong, so you can catch me next week on F1 America Pod featuring Formula E, because I am no longer.
God, yeah, you literally gave your 2 times multiplier to Carlos Sainz, who scored 9 points in fantasy. So, not great, man. Anyways,
how'd everyone else do?
7th place, Jason Lonero. Don't know who that is. Maybe Matt does. You know him?
Mm-mm.
That's crazy. I don't have any idea who that is. Super fun. 6th place, we got All Gas No Brakes 799 Ed Burns. 5th place, Joseph Berry. 4th place, Eber Rodriguez. 3rd place, Carlos Alberto Gomez Jr. I don't know who you are, but I love that name, and I want to be your friend. Second place, Roberto Gonzalez with Team Oi Oi Rara, and then a Ferrari fan for sure. And first place, what do you know?
Wow.
Hashtag Harambe for Stroll's seat. That's my team name. Harambe for Stroll's seat. Nathaniel Lawler, first place, 239 points.
Who's on your team?
Let's look at my team. We got Max Verstappen. I took him because I'm like, this dude's he's at back of the grid. Back of the grid, he's going to make up so many points. That's an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
Obvious choice. We didn't know actually he was at back of the grid though before we chose, so never mind. Gave him my 2x. He scored me 100 points alone, which was crazy. Isaac Hadjar, Elliot Behrman, Carlos Sainz, Arvid Lindbad.
Dude, we
got a lot to talk about with him. We'll get around to that. And then my teams, Ferrari and Haas, they both did great, honestly.
Dude,
So yeah,
that's one. Real claps. Claps.
Team Harambe, man.
I don't know. Overall, I mean, hey, if you're not first, you're last, and I was last. So.
You were very close.
Join us in fantasy and take us on.
Come on, please.
What else you got for me, Natty? What's going on?
This race was interesting. First race of the season. I think we kind of just jump into it. Like, it's hard to know where to start, but I think there's just so much different.
We're going to talk about a lot here. So throw it on 1.5 times speed or whatever suits you. But Natty, I feel like we have to start by talking about qualifying. Because I know we have a handful of listeners that they're newer to Formula One and they just think it's race day and that's all they're paying attention to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever got the question, but I know I've been asked, wait, how do they know where they line up on the grid?
Yeah, totally. Qualifying.
Which comes to qualifying. So if you don't know what qualifying is, it's typically the day before the race on a Saturday, depending on where you're at. Like for us, it can vary, but it's a day before the race. And qualifying is, in short, a one-lap shootout to get your fastest lap time possible. And there's 3 stages of qualifying. There's Q1, Q2, Q3. Q1, now that we have 22 drivers on the grid, we drop 6 in Q1. So the bottom 6 drivers get booted. Then we move on to Q2. And Q2, you drop another 6 to get to the top 10 for Q3. And essentially that order puts you on the grid. And there were some, I think, notable things that at least I wanted to talk about for the race that happened in qualifying. One of which was Kimi Antonelli. So he, in FP2, he absolutely shunted his car.
Can you explain FP2?
Yeah, that's a good catch.
Some practice rounds. That's the gist. You get a little bit of practice before the race.
Yeah, FP2 just stands for free practice, and there's 3 sessions.
Yeah, that's the second.
So in FP2, Kimi absolutely yeeted his car into a wall, and the pictures of it are insane.
He smoked it.
Hats off to the engineers because they put this car back together in several hours, and it was absolutely destroyed. Put it back together, and then Kimi goes and puts it on P2 for qualifying.
Dude, crazy.
It was insane.
He cooked.
And then
he really cooked.
He cooked. They're honestly all Mercedes. Their whole team, they did phenomenal. But for qualifying, that was a big one for me, is just how amazing that team performed throughout qualifying. And on top of it, Isaac Hadjar. We were talking about him with the fantasy picks. My question to you, Natty, is the Red Bull driver's seat, the second seat, is that cursed gone?
Dude,
Are we safe?
I feel about Isaac the same way I felt about Alex Albon.
I guess I should say, quickly back up, for anyone that doesn't know about the second seat curse at Red Bull, can you explain that a little?
Yeah, so basically it's like Max comes into Red Bull while Daniel Ricciardo's already there. Max is young up-and-coming driver. Him and Daniel actually did really well. Daniel kind of left of his own volition, not because Daniel wasn't driving well. Daniel was driving really well.
He just realized how good Max was.
Yeah, and he didn't want to have to compete with Max and be a number 2 driver. But then, basically, there's this saga of, like, all these drivers coming in to step in as the number 2 driver to Max. Max sets up his car in a really, like, sensitive way, kind of like your playing video games and you put it on like 10 max sensitivity. That's kind of how Max drives. Not a lot of
That's a
people
great
can drive
example.
like that. And then, so you have all these good drivers come in, but then they get compared directly to Max and they look terrible. I believe Yuki Tsunoda, who is now not racing in F1, who is the last teammate. So Isaac Hadjar, really good racer, comes in. And first race, his car failed, so he had a mechanical issue. His gearbox looked like it exploded. But he did really well. And
I
in
agree.
qualifying, he put it on P3.
Yeah, he looked good the whole weekend.
I've always thought he's like insane. Like,
Dude, he was a dog at Racing Bulls last year.
so no, I'm excited. I think he's got a very similar driving style to Max. I don't know if actually I would say very similar, but he's just like aggressive, sure, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and like will go for it. So it'll be fun.
I loved watching him this week, and I'm excited to see what he does because I feel like Max has someone that can help Red Bull get back to the top of the constructors. But also in qualifying, the huge shocker was Max crashes out in Q1. So he's at the back of the grid, which is just setting up for perfect Max fashion to do last to first challenge. But those were kind of the main shockers. But I guess getting into the race parts. So qualifying happens, Mercedes 1-2, Isaac at 3. And then the rest is kind of mixed up from there. Those were the big points there. But moving into the race, Natty, generally, what were your thoughts?
So back to the race. At first, I think it started out and I was like, ooh, this is kind of like, this feels fun. And then as the race progressed on, I kind of was like, like I feel a little bit bored and like nothing's happening. And I feel like there's a lot to talk about with like why that is. Australia, I feel like is a tough race course to showcase this new generation of car because it's a really fast race course and you don't have heavy braking zones like you do in a lot of other racetracks, which can aid to the regenerative braking and the battery power. And so at first, it was fun. Like when, Charles Leclerc and George Russell were like fighting a bunch at the beginning. And I was like, this is sick. I was like, they're trading like back and forth. Like, and I'm like, this feels fun. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. How long is this going to go on? And then as the race went on, it was like, there's this huge disparity between power and performance among all the teams. And I'm like, okay, nothing's really happening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I kind of thought similar is the first several laps were like 4th of July fireworks. So much was going on.
Yeah.
A lot was happening.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc goes from 4th to 1st, right?
Dude, and we'll talk about the Ferrari starts, but I wish I had like 7 screens to look at all the different battles that were happening.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, as the race settled down, you realized that Ferrari and Mercedes are in a class of their own right now. Their cars are far above the rest. And then it's Red Bull, McLaren, Racing Bulls, Haas that are kind of catching up. And it just settled in. And that's where I'm starting to wonder how this is going to play out as things develop in the year. I am hoping that as teams develop their parts throughout the year, and for you newer listeners and followers of F1, throughout the year, all the teams' engineering departments are working on upgrades. So you'll hear the announcer say, hey, McLaren brought in an upgrade this weekend. So all of them are trying to figure out what can we upgrade to give us a better edge so your car keeps improving and improving. But overall, I thought it was okay. I was pleasantly surprised it wasn't a shit show as I was expecting it to be with the 50-50.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of components I was disappointed with at the end of it.
Yeah, it feels like the drivers aren't really that excited as like a general rule of thumb. Like people feel pretty bummed out. I think mainly just because like the comparison to Formula E is tough. And I don't know, like people want to race, people want cars that feel like they're consistent, like kind of playing this game of like back and forth, like boosting and then like, and that's the other thing. I hope that we can break this down for anyone listening and give us some time because I think it's really complicated and nuanced, and everyone's kind of figuring it out. Like there's like these active aero instead of DRS, and there's these overtake zones kind of instead of DRS. Like, both of those things are like substituting, and now there's like boost and overtake, and it feels a little bit like, I don't know, too electric is what I think it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like I kind of just want like a screaming V10 Cadillac engine.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's where a lot of people in all of these blogs and articles are talking, is this really the direction we want Formula One going? Because with how sophisticated these teams are, it's like, why don't you just push them to make a 100% combustion engine with no battery and optimize the greenness of it? But I feel like a perfect example of the potential woes of this energy era are what happened to Max in qualifying, and then our poor Aussie local during the pre-formation lap. Did you catch this?
No.
So during qualifying, when Max crashed out, huge.
Yeah, I just saw that Oscar was out, and I was like, what?
Yeah, so, and it kind of starts, and the reason why I'm prefacing Max, because the same thing happened to both of them. Oscar's a little bit more driver intensive than Max,
okay.
But essentially what happened to Max, you're watching him come down the straight, getting ready to break into turn one, and as he's not even putting on the brakes yet, he's lifting to get the energy recharge going on.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially there was too much energy reclamation that it locked up the rear, and he just spun. So then when Oscar, the teams go from the garage, they do one outlap, form up on the grid, all their teams come out, prep the cars, get everything ready. During that first outlap, the race hadn't even started. Oscar comes around, I don't know, it was like turn 7, 8, or 9, and he hits a curb and then gets ready to slow down the next one, and then completely spins and just throws it into the wall.
It's crazy.
So it's a lot of these teams are struggling to figure out, how do you do this regenerative charging of your battery and manage the braking, because it's a finicky system.
And I feel like, I don't know, because people are lifting and coasting to recharge their battery. That feels weird.
Especially on the straight.
You're not pushing full gas and then brake, like... and okay, let me just also preface, because I was thinking about this, like, after hearing all the F1 drivers, like, just roasting it. It's the first race. It's super different. Like, it's a huge change. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's cooked. Like, I think that's the thing that I have to, like, remind myself of, is, like, this is just a big change, and no one likes change, and everyone, like... You know, if it went the total opposite direction and it was just combustion, I feel like people would actually have issue of like, oh, cars are too powerful and there's not enough room to overtake, and like everything, like maybe stuff is too even, or like there's no advantage that you get, like, because there's no downforce anymore, and like the slipstream era is gone. So I think it's just different, and it feels like usually people are always complaining if they're not winning. And so I don't know. I think Mercedes was stoked. They're like, we love the new cars. And like last year, McLaren is like, we love the current downforce era. And everyone else is like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm optimistically hoping it'll continue to improve as new upgrades come out.
Yeah. And people, like when the playing field gets more level, too, and people, I think, start to realize that, okay, this is what we're doing. We got to figure out tactics for this. We need to really figure out how to do all of it. And like when things become more optimized, and then I think hopefully those like boosts and like then battery saving will actually become more like strategic, and people will figure it out. Right now, it feels like there's so many changes to the car that everyone is like, what are we doing? I don't know. People feel a little lost in some ways.
Yeah, and I think one, it is a first race, and to your point, is we had 6 drivers who didn't finish, who had to retire their car. Sorry, 7 drivers. Actually. Both Aston Martins, Valtteri Bottas in the Cadillac, Isaac Hadjar, Oscar Piastri, and then Nico Hulkenberg.
Dude, I was bummed about Cadillac, man. I thought Valtteri was going to win.
I'm like, that's kind of the result of a new car, is you're trying to figure out how to make it go the distance first.
Yeah, it's a totally
and then
new car, new engine. Yeah, everything's new. Yeah, I mean, literally Aston Martin was like, we have 25 good laps. I don't know if you heard them talking about that in the commentary.
Yeah.
Like they went into the race not expecting to finish. They're like, we're going to retire the car.
Well, did you hear about the nerve damage stuff?
The what?
So there's
nerve damage?
So essentially, the engine has so much vibration that transfers through to the steering wheel that if they continued for a whole race length, that the drivers would start getting nerve damage in their hands because the vibrations were so intense. So
I
that's
hope that
when,
happens to Lance Stroll.
well, to that point is Fernando is like, yeah, I can maybe do 30, 35 laps before I can't do it anymore. And then Lance is over there is like, I can maybe do 15. I'm like, that sounds about right.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
honestly, I'm so glad that Adrian Newey has not developed this incredible car for Aston Martin and that
hmm
Lance Stroll is still at the back of the race. Like, it's so satisfying to see him, like, starting in last at this last race, and you're like, thank God. So,
yeah.
but
But
yeah, interesting stuff.
there's a lot that we can just go into. But I guess hitting on some of the major topics for the race. I mean,
Yeah.
the first one, as a McLaren fan, the Aussie curse is still present, which is kind of a bummer
Yeah, your
for
boy just
McLaren.
smoked the wall.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize this, but the the Australian curse, there hasn't been an Australian driver to finish on the podium since 1996 in Australia.
That's
So
literally when I
Mark
was
Webber,
born.
Daniel Ricciardo, and Oscar Piastri, the local Aussies, have never been able to finish on the podium. Last year, Oscar spun out in the last couple of laps, and then this year it spun out into the wall. I'm like, dang, the curse goes on. They cannot finish.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about this because I think there's some stuff to dog on. But let's talk about the first couple laps because I honestly was stoked.
hmm
Like I want to hear just what was your like yeah, what was your feeling, your gut take? Like what were you enjoying, not enjoying about the start and the first few laps? Because
Yeah,
I was pretty amped on it.
going into it, I was terrified. I was like, oh, this is going to be an absolute cluster.
Yeah.
And just from all the pre-testing that was done on it, I thought it was going to be terrible. And then, as Ferrari kind of predicted that their race start was kind of top par, Lewis and Leclerc shot up. And Leclerc from middle of the grid shoots up to go P1. Their start was phenomenal. And I thought it created an awesome amount of chaos for that turn one.
For sure.
And I was pleasantly surprised, thinking, oh, this is a great race start. And this is super fun to watch, everything chaos. And I didn't realize the potential flaw of it until after the race when I saw an onboard of Isaac Hadjar and then Pierre Gasly coming up, where Isaac gets off the line and it's kind of like a clunk, 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 and he didn't have an immediate go. And Pierre's coming up from the back of the grid, Ocon's in front of him, and Ocon goes one way, Pierre goes the other way, it almost like misses Isaac's back right tire by a hair
Dude.
and like drifts around Isaac.
So it is so precise. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
Their reaction times are insane.
No, I'm just like I feel like I get nervous if I'm like backing up my truck and they're driving at like 170 miles an hour, like barely missing each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. It was fun, dude. Fun first couple corners too. So much like jockeying for position and stuff.
Yeah, and so the racer I was happy about. I liked it. I thought it made it for sure interesting that a lot
Okay.
of those back midfielders could make a push to change positions pretty dramatically. Where in the past it was if you're P1 and P2, that's where the real big fight is, and everyone just kind of slip lines in between or behind the person in front of them. So I was stoked on it. I didn't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be. What were
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Kind of similar. I think I was surprised by how poorly so many people jumped off the start. I was kind of like, wait, you guys haven't figured out this? Like, I'm always surprised when people have bad starts because it's like this is the most important part of the race, arguably.
Yeah.
And so to see so many cars struggling for grip, I don't know if that was like battery deployment or like if there's too much torque because of the amount of power delivered from the battery or what, or if people just weren't practicing starts. But it was cool. It was sick to see Leclerc jump up through the ranks. I was kind of surprised that Isaac Hadjar didn't do better on his start. Like it was kind of strange. Aaron looked like, I mean, yeah,
Meh.
yeah, Lando just looked kind of like, I don't know. McLaren figured out the last generation of cars so well. They figured out downforce effect. All of their aero stuff, they just had that nailed down. And so now this car is so different because there's no ground effect era. That like suctioning of the car and dirty air like is totally different. So McLaren's bread and butter is so different.
We're talking about ground effect era and just kind of the difference there. Do you want to just touch on why that makes a difference?
Well, the ground effect era, and we talked about this in a previous pod, since everyone listens to every pod, they'll be familiar with this. But ground effect era, it describes the last generation of car before this year, which really was all of these aero design features on the car that caused air to be funneled to the bottom side of the car and suction the car to the ground, and then spew out a bunch of dirty air behind the car. So now that's very different. There's still downforce elements, there's a lot of aero elements, but that suctioning of air to the underside of the car so that the car is sucked down is very, very limited. And so McLaren got really, really good at that. That's why they've been so dominant in the last couple of years.
And the huge advantage to that downforce is going through corners. Because when you have a lot of that suction down, you can go through corners a lot quicker because your car doesn't slide out. So you can hit those corners and apexes a lot tighter and just go faster through corners. Whereas now they need to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, totally. But yeah. Dude, I don't know. I liked it. I really enjoyed the start. I thought the back and forth, like I mentioned earlier, between Leclerc and Mercedes was awesome. I'm struggling to realize or figure out why Mercedes is so much better, it seems like, than everyone else. I think it has to probably do with their power unit, like their engine, which time will tell with that, because listening to the commentators, they were talking about how McLaren buys their engine from Mercedes. So McLaren and Mercedes have the same engine, but McLaren hasn't had as much time with that engine as Ferrari has, or as Mercedes has. So Mercedes has been fine-tuning it, where McLaren can introduce some of those tunes after this race. So I think China, the next Grand Prix, will be really, really telling for like, hey, how much of their advantage is the power unit? Because McLaren will be able to make some pretty strong adjustments this next week. So
yeah. And a lot of the conversation about Mercedes too, that I'll be intrigued to see how it plays out, especially as the season goes on, is allegedly a lot of their power is coming from the way the engine helps regenerate the battery power more efficiently. So apparently there's speculations that that's why the engine is so good, because they've built the whole system to work really well together.
Bro, people are so smart. That's like, if you're like an American engineer, this is your sport. Because it's like every driver is really, really good. Like, let's be straight. 21 out of 22 drivers are really, really good.
Yes.
And if you swap out a lot of these drivers in different cars, they become world champion. Like if last year, if you put almost any driver in a McLaren, they have a shot at the world title. And I mean, if you put Max in the McLaren, then he's going to absolutely smoke everyone. Max is like definitely a better driver. It feels like the most everyone at this stage in his career. But it is cool to see, like, okay, there's so much, like, technical innovation. The drivers are so in on that. Like, there's so many people conspiring to, like, make a car that's actually racing cool. And so that's, like, I don't know, it does feel fun. Like, it's almost like someone said, hey, we're changing all the rules this year. And so all of the engineers are, like, struggling to go back to the drawing board and, like, resetting game settings rather than them just continuing to build, like, on the advances that they've already made. So I don't know. I kind of like it, but also it got kind of boring at the end when you see that there's such a discrepancy between performance from team to team.
Yeah, and one part that I was a little bit interested to see how it would play out, especially in future races, because Ferrari being Ferrari decided to botch their strategy once again.
Dude, that was crazy.
Mercedes finished 30-ish seconds ahead of Ferrari in McLaren.
Why did Ferrari do what they did?
I don't. And to give you context, when Natty says, why did Ferrari do what they did, is Ferrari went for a two-stop, so they changed their tires twice, where Mercedes just did a one-stop where they went from a medium to a hard and finished the race. And the Mercedes did it during a virtual safety car, which essentially minimalizes the impact of your pit stop. And Ferrari didn't capitalize on that, and they just kept going to, I don't know what their game plan was, but at the end of the race, they finished 30-ish seconds behind, and it was the pit stop difference. So although it looked like Mercedes absolutely dominated paper, part of me was like, that Ferrari botched it.
Yeah, no, it really does feel like that. Like that first safety car, they should have gone in. First virtual safety car. Yeah, it reminded me of Las Vegas. Or not Vegas. It was with McLaren this last year. Qatar. Was it Qatar?
Yep, Qatar.
It reminded me of Qatar.
Yep, I thought the same thing.
Everyone going in, and all of a sudden, top two like cars don't, and you're like, oh, why'd you guys do that? That was silly.
But aside from that, I mean, although Ferrari botched their strategy, Ferrari and Mercedes are clearly the top two teams right now.
Dude, I think Red Bull's a sleeper, though.
Hey, that they could be. I mean, I look at Max towards the end of the race when he was fighting Lando, and Lando did a great job holding him up.
Yeah, that felt like kind of battery games, though.
Yeah, and that's where for the top two teams, they kind of blew past everyone. Yeah. So that's where, gosh, and here's another rant, is the broadcasting is, I want the data on the screen. I want to know who's deploying energy, when, where, how much is left.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know is like, how are they playing these games? But FIA deemed that they're not going to display live data on the energy deployment and reclamation system.
Boo hiss. Yeah, because we don't really know what's happening. It's like, I don't know. I feel like there should be more insight to that, because you're like, why is one car going like 40 miles an hour faster? Like when Leclerc was overtaking Russell on that long left-hand turn at the beginning of the race, you're like, oh my gosh, he closed a 2-second gap. Like in one corner, he closed a 2-second gap. And you're like, this is insane. Anyways, I feel like stuff will get better and more refined. There's a lot of big change. Dude, but the thing that we tweeted out earlier is freaking Arvid,
Arvid Lindblad.
Crazy name.
Shit.
Seems like a villain. He's got the name of a supervillain.
I was blown away.
He's like 18.
18 and driving like an absolute savage.
In like an RB.
Yes. In the second car to Red Bull, the supposedly lesser car.
He made Liam Lawson look so silly, dude.
Which Liam qualified above him. I mean, there's some competition there, but when it came to race day, Arvid, out of nowhere, it's like watching him just go through and battle everyone, not giving a rip of, oh, this is Lewis Hamilton, I'm going to wheel with the GOAT of Formula One. Didn't give a rip. He just kept pounding it. And I was in awe of this rookie first race. Usually I would expect him to be a back of the grid, and last year all of the rookies, granted it was wet weather, they all finished meh. But Arvid, hats off, Arvid.
Dude, it was awesome. It was awesome.
I'm so excited to see what he ends up doing.
No,
but I'm also like, cool. Where's he going to go? You have Isaac in the Red Bull seat and Max. It's not like he's going to take any of those seats.
Yeah. I mean, if he just keeps doing what he's doing, it's kind of like, I don't know, he'll make a case for himself, and it might be a repeat of Max's second teammate getting switched out. But I mean, same with Isaac had an insane rookie season last year, so they'll give Isaac some leash, I think. But no, Arvid was awesome. I'm like, this kid, he's also so funny. He's like such a kid. I was watching some interview with him and someone was like, Arvid, what do you do for fun? He's like, I don't know, I watch TikTok on my phone. He's like, I just like freaking doom scroll a lot and play video games. And meanwhile, he's driving like 210 miles an hour in an F1 car.
As an 18-year-old.
No, it's crazy. So he's fun. I mean, he was dominant in F2 and had a really good career.
And even and I want to get your thoughts on this, but I looked at Cadillac. Although Valtteri had to retire the car, I'm like, for your first race in Formula One,
they did great.
They did great. I freaking loved when Perez and Lawson were going wheel to wheel and quite literally banging wheels.
So sick. Dude, well, they hate each other.
Yes.
Like 2 years ago when they were racing against one another in Red Bull.
Why do they hate each other? Give some people context why they hate each other.
Okay, they just like, basically, Lawson thought that he deserved Perez's seat when Perez was at Red Bull. And so Lawson just started racing super aggressively against Perez in
Yeah.
the 2024 season. And they just had like all these crashes and collisions and like racing moments and run-ins where they were being savage to one another. And also on like off track on camera were trash talking one another. So it's kind of fun to see them back again and slamming into each other's wheels.
Like Perez runs him off the track. I thought it was a great move. And then
sick.
next go around, Lawson quite literally bumps Perez with his wheels to
Freaking
take the
body
lead.
checks him. It was so funny.
I
So
loved
I'm
it.
down for that. Meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas is just like, oh, car is done, must go to sauna.
But yeah, with Checo and Valtteri coming back after not racing for a while,
Pretty
they
good.
just jumped right in. I was like, man, I think we have the best 21 possible drivers on the grid this year.
Yeah.
22 doesn't matter because that's just Nepo baby in his seat that'll never lose. But I look at all the drivers and I love it. Like every one of them, I could say
fun.
you put them in the top car, they could easily win a world championship.
Yeah, no, it is cool. I mean, I think Lawson's okay. I feel like I've never been super impressed by Liam Lawson.
Yeah, I feel like he's maybe bottom. I mean, like Gabriel Bortoleto doing great.
Yeah.
Like all the
Yeah,
rookies.
Gabriel Bortoleto got points in the Audi, and then like I mean the fact that Cadillac finished is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I mean it's pretty cool. No, it's a good field. It's a super good field. Matt, you were thinking about like this idea of a headline to describe the race. Like what would your headline be for the 2026 Australian Grand Prix?
Yeah, if someone just asked me like what happened, what's a big takeaway, what's a headline from the Australian Grand Prix, I would say Ferrari serves a 1-2 finish on a silver platter to Mercedes. I mean, Mercedes was good, but man, Ferrari could have competed so much harder. And I'm like, this isn't the first time questions have been raised about their strategy. And would they have won the race? I don't think so. But could they have made it closer and just done better on their strategy? I think that would have made a huge difference. That was probably my big takeaway of amongst with so many talking points with the new season that we could spend hours talking about. When it came to the actual race, I'm like, it was an easy Mercedes 1-2, and then Ferrari 3-4.
Yeah.
But what about you? If you had to, Joe Schmo comes off the street and says, what happened during the Australian Grand Prix? How would you headline it?
Probably like Battle of the Teslas. I think, dude, I don't know. It felt like everyone's all of a sudden racing these like electric cars and no one really knows what they're doing, just like draining all this battery and then coasting and stuff. So it felt a little chaotic. Like what these drivers and teams knew is Formula One is very rewritten, and all this emphasis on the electric car and like the complexity of all these new but it was funny even, like the announcers, I feel like they were like the commentators were trying to explain everything, but also I kind of felt like this, maybe I was misreading it, this angst from them of like this, like what is this? What's going on?
I felt they were almost as lost as I was at some point.
Yeah.
Like there was so much happening. It's like, what do you talk about? Because like one part, to give you an example, Lance Stroll retired in the 43rd lap. Didn't even mention it. It's like they didn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
I was at the end of the race. I just saw Lance didn't finish. It's like, when did that happen?
Yep.
It's like there were so many talking points, and I felt like everyone was all over the place. Of where do we even start with this?
Yeah, we're all catching up. I think, in general, there's some like negative critique from Matt and I, like as we're talking about this, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of part of the progression of the sport. I think there really probably is light at the end of this tunnel, and I hope that I do hope that we can be a help to people listening to like really be figuring out, okay, how do we make sense of all of this, and like how do we see what people are doing right, what people are doing wrong, and like the right way of racing, because I think it will come to like show itself.
Yeah. And I feel like if we're trying to look at this in a positive light for someone who's just now jumping in Formula One, like they don't know anything different. And I think the cool part about it is it does put a lot of power back in the driver's hands of how are you going to race? because it's a game of when do you deploy energy, when do you not deploy energy. And it's a lot happening for the drivers, and I get it. They're going to complain about it. But I feel like there is a lot of opportunity. And from what I saw, the goal of this new era of car was to allow for more wheel-to-wheel racing. And I feel like there wasn't these long DRS trains anymore of where you had 6 cars up front who were a minute down the field and then everyone just bunched up because they couldn't pass.
Yeah, I think that's done.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that, and I hope we don't see it because that kind of destroys the racing. But we saw a lot of that leapfrog happen. There was, what was it? It was Ocon, Gasly, and Lawson.
Yeah,
or
going back and forth a ton.
Yeah, there was just 3 cars going back and forth, and it would constantly shift, which I think is fun. Now it's up to the broadcast to try capturing all of it happening at the same time, because there's a lot happening at the front and the middle now, which is more fun. And I think we can toot the horns of everywhere that this racing sucks, and we should just go back to V10 engines and let them race it out at fastest possible speeds. But I think at mid-year we'll have a better understanding of, do these rules actually suck, or is there opportunity for it? But to your point is, like, I do see a light.
Though, like, what happens if if it's like this sucks? Like,
that's the scary part.
Because are we just stuck with it, or at that point, does the FIA step in and they're like, hey, maybe we should make some changes?
Well, that's the tricky part. Is it's not like you can make an amendment to change it. Is you've rewritten all of the regulations. So it's not like if they were to change it now, it's going back to the teams and saying, hey, you need to change your engine completely again. Yeah. Which is no small feat.
No.
So I think we're
like
stuck.
Years of engineering.
Yeah, I think we're stuck to some degree. I don't have a solution on how they could fix it at this point, because I feel like we're stuck with it for the next bit.
I'm really interested to see tracks later in the season that are less high speed. Like, let me pull up the schedule.
Yeah, like I'm intrigued to see all of the city circuits of like Baku. Like, what's that going to be like? You have the one long straight and a lot of these typically quick corners.
Yeah.
I'm like, what will, like, smaller cars, smaller wheelbases, what's Monaco going to be like?
Yeah, Monaco actually could be fun.
Yeah, because Monaco has sucked for the last couple of years.
No, Monaco
because you can't pass.
Yeah, it's just like who sticks on pole and they win. I feel like Monaco could legit be pretty fun, like with the overtake and the boost and all that, and with how many strong braking zones there are. Yeah. Like slower tracks, I think will tend to maybe do better. Like Canada, I think could be really cool. Oh, new Barcelona stadium, which is a street circuit, has a ton of turns. That could be cool. Austria.
Miami might be pretty good.
Miami could be cool. Well, yeah, Miami actually
I don't know. And that's the other aspect that you're trying to anticipate with these regulations is each track is so different. Mm-hmm. And for this one, I don't know what turn that was, but the main straight before they came into the quick left-right is all of them were lifting to harness energy. Like, that was the straight that everyone was lifting because that was the fastest like mode to go. Yeah. So I'm intrigued to see how it shifts if you don't have all of these tracks that have a perfect straight for the energy reclamation system. But also, it's like, what happens when you're at a track that has multiple straights? And then what is it? Yeah. How do the games play from there? But the other part,
like Monza could be crazy because that's just like the fastest track on the friggin' circuit. I don't know.
The other part too, Natty, that we didn't talk about is a huge talking point last year was just the Pirelli tires. They were, because of the ground effect era, they were taking a beating on the tires, and it was a tires game. Like, I'm intrigued to see how that plays in this year with
less
strategy and tires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You wonder if they've almost made the tires less durable so that there is degradation, so that like because if every race is a one-stop race, it's going to get pretty boring. You know?
And that's where I'm like, did Ferrari think that the tires were just going to go out, that you couldn't finish? But I feel like Mercedes saw and like, okay, we're using more fuel, cars getting lighter, we can take it to the end on these hard tires. But then you have Lando, who lasted, what is that, like 19 laps or something on the mediums. And they were asking him, what do you think about going back on mediums? He's like, no chance. Like, I cannot do 26 laps on mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
So I'm intrigued to see how that plays. And that's the aspect.
I bet there will be comparable amounts of DEG. This is my like uneducated theory, is that because there's not ground effect era, could provide like it could be really hard on the tires because of sliding that happens in the corners, and like cause more wear and more degradation. So I don't know. I feel like they're going to be racing super hard, and like tire deg is probably still going to be a pretty big factor in my mind.
Yeah, and I mean we're not even into summer, so when we get to the warmer circuits like Singapore, what's going to happen in Singapore?
So hot.
So there's so many components to this, which is why we love the sport. Is there's so many aspects that can make or break a race weekend, and the setup of your car. Of each weekend, teams come in with a different setup. Perfect example, if you listen to our Vegas Grand Prix, going into the Grand Prix for Vegas last year, the talk was this is not McLaren's circuit. There's no way Lando's going to win it because they've always struggled on the circuit. Lo and behold, they get double DSQ'd. Like there's different circuit that teams struggle on. So I'm intrigued to see where those struggles are and what they are. Because right now this is a baseline, and our baseline is Mercedes and Ferrari look damn good, and then it's McLaren and Red Bull. I think Red Bull has a slight edge, but then Haas and Racing Bulls looks great. I mean the back, I feel like it's really just Aston Martin and Cadillac at the back of the grid, and then the midfield is kind of up in the air right now.
No, time will tell. I feel like we need more races, like, get us to the 5th race of the season. I feel like we'll have a little bit more clarity of what's really happening. So I'm excited for China next week. That'll be a good one. Also a fast circuit, but it'll still be fun.
So, Natty, let's jump into legends and losers.
Bring it. The pick is in.
Natty, who is your legend of the week?
My legend of the week is none other than the Australian national anthem. Dude, so I'm watching the beginning of this race. I just had finished the game of Catan, and all of a sudden, this woman gets up on the racetrack and starts singing the Australian national anthem. And I think to myself, for one, didn't know they had a national anthem. 2, I don't think I've ever witnessed Australia win an Olympic medal ever, so I've never heard the Australian national anthem. So she starts singing, and I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm like, wait, this is a sick song. I'm gonna read you a couple of lyrics because I looked this up. It just starts off hard, so hard. Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. Sounds kind of like some American indie song. And it just, dude, it goes on, and it's like, we toil with hearts and hands to make this Commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. Sick. Let's see. And then, for those who've across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage, let us all combine to advance Australia fair. Sick. They're just like, hey, guys, you know how much land we got? Come on, come over here. We'll share it. We'll share it. And they got a lot of land. So I'm like listening to this national anthem. I'm like, this is freaking sick, dude. Yeah, so that's my
Getting a dual citizenship or what?
Yeah, I might hit a little dual action, dude. I need Francis Scott Keys has got to run for his money, man. This was a good one. And I feel like, it brings up a thought in me. Maybe most countries, like, what if we revisited our national anthem? What if there was like a mandated every 2 decades, every score of years or something? No, that'd be 14. Every 2 decades, you have to redo your national anthem.
I'm terrified what ours would be right now.
Dude, it'd be freaking
America, the worst country in the world.
We're eating ourselves alive. Politics divisive. You'll die if you're inside. No.
Oh, dude. I would love a little facelift to our national anthem. Love it. They're like, oh gosh. Gold medal game. Shout out U.S. men's Olympic hockey team. Suck it, Canada. Enjoy that silver. But when that national anthem was playing, chills.
Or like, even dude, freaking Charlie Puth at the Super Bowl when he sang the national anthem. I was like, this is amazing. And so, yeah, national anthem was sick. And then afterwards, they had a flyover consisting of the entire Australian Air Force, all 5 prop planes. just over top. It was pretty funny. So that's my legend.
baby.
Matt, who is your legend?
Legend of the week for me, and I'm sticking racing on this one because, man, Arvid Lindblad, legend of the week.
Dog.
He, like, I don't think people understand, like, for him to be that competitive in this field of racers, like,
First
like,
F1
you're coming to it from an F2 car, which is very simplistic in comparison to this Formula One car. Significantly slower, significantly less components. Like, you're Lawson, who is not a terrible driver, and have a teammate who was in a Red Bull seat, demoted from a Red Bull seat, but was good enough to replace essentially Yuki instead of sending Yuki back down. But this rookie comes in and just absolutely shreds the weekend, getting points on his debut.
Crazy.
Which is impressive of itself, finishing P8. Like, he fought everyone that tried passing him. He gave them a run for his money. So my hat just goes off to him. Is like, I love that, and I would love another villain on the grid. I feel like Max and Oscar right now are the two that I'm like, they will shunt you off the race course if they can for that position. And I feel like we have another villain. It's like, I would love to see someone just stoke fires.
No, it's like, having like crafty racers versus just like, I feel like, we had like Yuki Tsunoda who would just like try and run people off the road. And like, that was no fun really, because it's like, well, there's nothing like shrewd and crafty. No, Arvid, dude, he might be up and coming.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does, but that's my legend of the week. Natty, who's your loser this week?
I got to go with the element lithium. Watch out, lithium. What's elemental symbol Li? Lithium. Formula One's coming for you. We might be going all green, net zero, but guess what? We are going to be mining you, lithium. We are going to be releasing carbon in the atmosphere when we are mining all of the lithium in Central Africa, just decimating that population. It is. Watch out, lithium. Like, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy that we're like, yeah, let's go net zero, but just like freaking power this EV revolution, which is built on the back of burning coal and mining one of the most like wrecked like geographies of the world in Central Africa and like the Congo. It's like, everyone's like, nah, dude, we're not zero, dude. So lithium, dude, you're done. You're my loser of the week, man.
We'll see ya.
Watch out.
Oh,
who's your loser?
My loser of the week, Natty, is Mercedes pit crew.
Mercedes pit crew.
So if you weren't watching qualifying, so pit crew did a phenomenal job patching up Kimi's car to get him onto the grid. They sent him out there. They have the snow blower thing or the leaf blower still in the engine of the car, like the air intake. They left it in the side of the car.
Oh no.
Kimi goes out, takes a couple of corners. You see it fly off. And lo and behold, of course, Lando absolutely smokes it. Dude, that freaking leaf blower disintegrated. It was just poof, confetti everywhere. Dude. I'm like, how did this thing just explode into a million pieces?
Why did Lando not swerve out of the way? I saw that replay, and like you could have seen it for a while, and then he just is like, no, I'm just gonna freaking take this one on the chin.
Dude, and just imagine being that pit guy that left it in, and everyone in the garage is like, you see Kimi go out, and they're like, oh, Kimi still has the leaf blower air intake thing in, and I just imagine everyone in the pit garage, and then Toto just being like, looking over, and just shooting daggers at that one just guy who's responsible for it.
Fire, dude. Yeah, that was bad.
But that's my loser of the week.
I like it.
Natty, wrapping up, any final thoughts, honorable mentions, anything we didn't cover that is worth chatting about?
Dude, I just like it. I'm glad we're back. I'm thankful F1's back. It's a fun sport. It is growing in America. I keep seeing people around town wearing little merch and stuff like that. It's always fun to talk people up who are fans. But I'm glad we're back. George Russell is making a strong case for an early lead in this Constructors' Championship. Not the biggest fan of George, but...
Dude, did you watch Drive to Survive?
Which one?
The newest season. It's like, it just makes me dislike George so much more.
Really? Why?
I'm like, some of his comments, I'm like, brother, you are treading in Lance Stroll territory for me. I'm like, it's almost this sense of entitlement because he's this golden boy for Mercedes.
Dude,
and
he's so entitled.
I'm like, I'm not a huge George fan. So, but
no, we're back, baby. You got any other thoughts?
The only thing, and I shot you a text about this, of something to keep an eye on. So George Russell took a new energy store before this race. So FIA released that George Russell replaced like the energy system in his car, which you only get one replacement for the entire season. And he's already used it for the first race.
But then you probably just take a grid penalty, correct?
See, and that's where I need to dig into the repercussions. But I mean, we'll
get back to you guys on that. But I'm pretty sure it would. My intuition says it's similar of like power unit replacements when people would do that. Of like you're allotted a certain amount, and if you go over that amount, you take a 5 or a 10 place grid penalty, like how Max started from pit lane in Brazil last year.
Yeah. So I don't know what the grid place penalty is, or what the penalty is for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, hadn't even started a race and already
down one.
So there's a lot of things like that that'll pop up in the season where you'll hear someone gets a 5-place grid penalty for X reason. The other part that I didn't realize is poor Valtteri Bottas had to take a grid penalty to start this year. Well, so
from 24, right?
Yep. When was that Nico that he got in a crash with, or he caused a crash, and the next race he was supposed to take a grid penalty.
Yeah.
But he essentially retired after that race and never took the penalty. And you think, oh, end of the season, don't need to fulfill that penalty. But nope, next race he had to take the grid penalty for this one.
So funny. Literally like 16 months later, he's like, oh, this caught up to me.
Poor guy. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I just keep an eye out for things changing. Just waiting to see what new tea drops on Twitter and what chaos ensues. Overall, okay race weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best racing I've ever seen, but it also wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But until then, follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to this podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Until then, we'll see you next week in China. Goodbye.
China.